Well, just as I began this presentation, I'd like to end it with kind of a shout out by reiterating how invigorating it is to work here at IPFW in such a supportive environment of peers and colleagues. And that's not just idle talk. Nothing you've seen here have I invented, air quotes, myself, or discovered on my own. I like to think that my teaching is a continuum of Kenneth Burke's unending conversation. And in fact, everything you see here, including this Prezi, is something I've learned either through CELT, through Ludi, through Gail, through Sam, or learned it through DCS, the great folks there, and also within the Department of Communications and, of course, the Department of English, where I've worked with my colleagues. I can't tell you the number of times I've discussed internet teaching with Adam Dirksen. And in fact, this very Prezi that you're watching is something I picked up from Dr. Sarah Webb-Sunderhouse when I was doing peer review through CELT of her English W131 class. She presents Prezis in her class to her students and has them, did I get the grammar right? And she has the students actually create Prezis as research projects, presentation projects, and writing projects, all right? And I was totally intrigued with that, and so I borrowed that pedagogy, and I'm actually using it in my own online classes, particularly my writing class, where I think we're into, really modern, postmodern forms of writing where new skills are going to be required, new presentation skills are going to be required, going to be utilized, and I'm also using it in my journalism class where I teach presentation skills. So this is what I'm saying is this is all material that you're seeing here that I present exactly the same fashion to my students, and at the same time I've learned it from my colleagues at IPFW. And I also want to make a shout out specifically to our students. I've taught here since the year 2000. I love the students. 99 out of 100, 999 out of 1,000 really step up to these classes, and they're hardworking individuals. This is not your traditional four-year small liberal arts college where everybody's just sitting around the dorms, that kind of stuff. These students work and they work hard. And I like to think, I'd like to think that my student evaluations show that they are really engaging my classes. So what I've done here is I presented several, obviously selected evaluations, okay, to kind of show you some of the student response. But I've also presented a little chart, a little graph that shows you when I also look at evaluations as a teaching tool for myself. What can I learn from my students about teaching, all right? And places where they show dissatisfaction, I try to massage those places, and so that they get, so that their own goals are met. It's just not my teaching goals, it's their goals that really, really count, I think, okay? So I think I mentioned this earlier that I went through a peer review process, a mentoring process sponsored by DCS and by CELT and Dr. Druin and I, one of my courses, particularly I think is my English W131 course. And we found a place where we could streamline it, and particularly where the student evaluation said, hey, some of the discussions just didn't seem like too much. I got several comments that they were repetitive or that there was just too much going on, they couldn't keep up with it. Not so much in the topics and the goals, but all the different responses I was requiring. So basically, the chart here shows that when I made sure that the discussions were all very, very goal-oriented, I could cut down the number of discussions by not accidentally repeating goals or repeating topics, right? So I could cut down the number of discussions and still deliver the same material, still deliver the course content, which is very important, of course. And I could also cut down the number of interactions with the discussion, so they still felt this idea of a classroom community. They still felt this idea of a community of knowledge builders, all right? But if you look at the chart that I created, you'll see that my DWF rate actually improved, okay? So I'd like to think that this shows that my own response to what my students tell me about my teaching is proactive, all right, or is the opposite of proactive. After the fact, okay, I make the adjustments that I think are necessary. So I take student evaluations very seriously, and I consider that a fundamental part of teaching, fundamental part of online teaching, because it's often the only chance you really get to hear back from the students, okay? You're not hearing them growling and groaning every day in the classroom, okay, the face-to-face classroom. So with that said, I'd like to end this exactly the same way I end these little videos with my students. I've rambled on long enough throughout this presentation. I've rambled on long enough in this little video. I just want to thank you all for watching. Thank you all for paying attention. So, hey, enjoy the rest of your day.